Hi, this is Cindy Cochran. Welcome to the archives of the Cindy Cochran Show. Remember, I'm live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11, right here on irlonestar.com. You can be a part of the show by calling 936-647-3776. Also, please visit my Facebook page, The Cindy Cochran Show. And let me say a special thanks to our show sponsors, BK Meyer Photography. If you would like to be a sponsor of The Cindy Cochran Show, contact me at cindy@irlonestar.com. Enjoy! Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. Oh, yay, Monday. I love Mondays. Monday. Yeah, Monday is a day that I love, and it's because I want to be different from everybody else. Usually people hate the Mondays, and they think, oh, no, I got to get up. But I had a great weekend, a full weekend, but I couldn't wait to get here to talk to you guys because there's so much going on. And this weekend, yikes, it was an amazing weekend. And last night I killed a Texas ground rattler. And at least it was a Texas snake that I killed. It wasn't a foreign-born snake that came onto the property. It was a Texas. I thought it was a grass snake. I walked out on the porch, and I looked down, and I thought, wow, that's a big grass snake for a grass snake. And so I thought, well, the kids may want to play with it. Maybe I should catch it and put it in something and let them play with it. And then it started, I looked at it, but it had different markings than I thought a grass snake would have. So I said, this is weird. But it was going to where it was going to get into the house if I didn't do something immediately. It started that way. So with my trusty big dog sitting there just watching, and I took a cow bone that they had drug from the forest, and I smashed the head. I thought I did. I didn't want to see it. What happened, but there was a hole in the bone and it started crawling through the hole. And I'm going, couldn't get that. So then I did it again, like really hard until it stopped wiggling. And but right before when it came back up out of the bone, it looked at me, it turned around, and it raised up and snapped at me. It has mouth wide open, and I saw these little teeth in it and snapping at me. And I'm going like, this can't be a little grass snake. So I smashed it one more time with that cow bone, and it stopped. So I went and got my husband. I said, okay, what is this thing? So he went and looked. It's poisonous because you can tell by the shape of the head. It's poisonous, and it's let me see. And he Googles it, and he says, it's a Texas ground rattler. So it's a good thing you weren't bit by it. And the dog sat there the whole time and just thought that was very amusing. Like he watched me, watched the snake. So I found out that this is what you need to look at pictures and be well aware when you live on land. So that was my whole weekend. That was the most exciting thing that happened. Besides the preacher Sunday got up and big signs on the stage that said, "Birds and the bees." The birds and the bees. I know what that means. And so he stood up and he goes, okay, everybody, all the 6th grade and under are leaving the room. And so we're going to talk to the people that are old enough to hear this sermon. And it just made you like, I wouldn't leave this room for 1 minute. I can't wait to see what he's going to say.
Dying to know.
Right. And so he's just like, he's so, like, okay, this is going to be really interesting. You guys may not be uncomfortable. Some of the older ones, he went through this whole prepping us for it. And he says, okay, take a deep breath now. Here we go. And he starts into this conversation about sex. And he says, we're going to talk about sex today. And so everybody, I looked around, nobody looked at each other, and they were all looking straight ahead. No, it was amazing talk. It was really, really good. So we've had Jeff Phillips on the show before, and he is very, outspoken as a preacher. He's always outside at the box when he talks about things. And so it was, everybody was like, oh, cringing, because they knew he would talk straight about it. He was not going to tell you any lies or put any fluff on it. So it was really good. He's going to have 3 parts of this sermon, so I'm sure it's going to be packed.
3 consecutive weekends of awkwardness. Just something to look forward to for next Sunday.
Well, we had so much fun with it. We left our group, thought that was really interesting, and the grandchildren kept saying, "Why did we have to go to the room? What were you talking about? We had to go to the room at church."
One day you'll be old enough to know.
Right.
One day.
And that beautiful voice that you're listening to, I want to introduce you to my special guest today is Kate Bihm. I love having you on the show.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I had my own wildlife incident this weekend.
What happened?
So I was doing laundry yesterday, and as I was sorting the laundry in my laundry basket, a spider was in my laundry basket. And those who know me well know that I do not deal well with critters of any kind. Any kind. If they are unable to walk upright and are faster than I am, I have grave concern. And I'm like really, truly fearful. So my first thought was to just take everything in the laundry basket and burn it because that would solve the problem.
So true.
But so I see the spider, and unlike you, Cindy, who very bravely and gamely, I might add, decides to deal with the problem yourself, my response was to scream, run out of the room, and stand in the hallway pointing in that general direction while my husband looked at me like, "What is the matter with you? What is your problem?" And I'm like, "There is a spider in the laundry basket." And he was like, "Okay."
And if you could just take the clothes out, fold them, and then till you get to the spider, honey, that would really
And so
help
he's
me.
like, "Well, honey, I mean," I'm like, and so finally I realized that it's obviously not a tarantula or something that's going. It's just, it's just probably like a little wolf spider or something. It's not going to hurt. And it was tiny, y'all. I mean, it was tiny.
Yeah, but I do not believe that thing. Like the bigger they are, they're not going to hurt you. What?
No. No.
I don't believe
if
that.
it looks like it is the result of an experiment, I believe that it's there to harm me. Period. The end. So anyway,
exactly right.
The sad thing is that the spider then ran into one of my favorite pair of socks that are green and white striped. So I can never wear them again.
Of course not.
Never. But I did put them in the washing machine anyway because I thought to myself, well, I'll just drown the spider. I mean, that's surely
go away clean. Yeah,
it can't live through a gain pack and some OxyClean.
Yes, exactly.
So, and if it does, and then even if it did, it can't live through the dryer.
We don't.
So, and then I'll just throw the socks away.
Do you have the washer and dryer that has the you can look through and watch it happen?
Yes, and I have this vision of this spider like on the front of the washing machine.
I
just
can see Kate. I can see Kate's chair pulled right up to the go ahead. Yeah, get it. Yeah. That is so funny.
So that was once again, to contrast, Cindy takes a bone and kills a snake.
It's a cow bone.
A cow bone. Like a pioneer Texan woman.
Yes.
Kate screams and runs out of the room for a spider that is roughly the size of a pinhead.
I love that. I love the contrast there. I always try and tell my grandchildren when I hear the screaming. My daughter's the same way. She's like 30 something. She's the same way, screaming. Like I saw a cricket, and they come out. And I said, y'all, every one of y'all are bigger than the spider, the snake, whatever. You're bigger than that. But when that snake raised and started snapping at me, I thought, this isn't normal behavior for a grass snake.
That's not what I'm used to.
And it made me mad. I said, I'm going to smash the living daylights. So anyway, it was...
Cindy, don't get me started on lizards.
On lizards.
Oh my gosh, I hate them.
Well, now I'm very interested to find out. I know that you may be afraid of that, but I know you're not afraid of the criminal type people.
No.
Of human beings. Of human beings you can handle. That's no problem, right?
Sure.
No,
sure.
And so that's what I got to tell you. So those who've not seen her sign, I see your sign. I see your signs everywhere. You've got a good person that places your signs.
That means it's working. That's good.
It's very good. Kate Bihm is running for judgeship of District 9.
Yes, the 9th District Court, which encompasses all of Montgomery County. So if you were listening to this and you live in Montgomery County, then you can vote Bihm for judge.
Right. And you listening in San Francisco and Washington and UK.
Not so much.
You cannot.
Not so
even
much.
if you mail it in, I don't think it's going to work.
It is if you're a resident of Montgomery County, but just happen to be there.
Well, a lot of people wish they were. They wish they were residents here, but they're not. And so we just keep telling them,
right.
one day
you'll get here.
Right. And we're always telling them about how the weather is. It's so great here. And it's not that we're lying or anything. It is. And we just try and support the idea and the reputation we have as everything's bigger and better here.
It is.
In
and
Texas.
Everything in Montgomery County is just a little bit more special, I think.
Is.
I moved here 11 years ago for a job at the district attorney's office, and I thought that I would quickly move on, honestly. I thought, well, it'll be a good place to get some experience, and then I'll go elsewhere. And I fell in love. The people here are so
sweet,
so welcoming,
yes.
and everybody wants to give you an opportunity. An example that I can use for my own life is that, so when I moved here and I knew not a soul was aware of a Mexican restaurant on 105, and that was about it. And very shortly, it's no longer there.
Oh, right.
But very shortly, people were asking me to come be a part of their Bible studies, come join their church, come be a part of their social groups. And I made friends really quickly and fell in love here. And, there's a lot of things that, people have a reputation for kind of being in other places. Well, you have to be of a certain group or know a certain person to take on leadership roles or to be super involved in certain activities. And very shortly, someone was like, well, hey, why don't you come chair this committee? And it's like, well, okay. So you have this people are very welcoming here. Yes. And I think we have a special thing in Montgomery County that I don't know if it's because we're so big and there's so much work to do that everyone is like, no, come one, come all.
Yes.
We need the help.
No, that's
but
true.
It is. It's a special place, and I really love it here.
Well, I think that it's so interesting to me when I talk to a woman who's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Now, we have a show on here called Justice
is Blind.
I've appeared on the show. I'm sitting there going like,
I've appeared on the show.
That is so great. That show is wonderful. If you've not heard that show, listen to that show because Justice is Blonde really takes women who are just really, like they're so bold and you'd love to have them, fighting for you. And I think that if I had someone like that in different times, I'm like, I could win that. Those women are good because you think nobody's going to listen to a woman. And I grew up in born in 48. So I grew up in a lot of the women will never do this or women will never do that. Mm-hmm. And to see a woman lawyer up there fighting for a case it's very interesting to me.
That was actually why I switched from a big part of why I switched from being a prosecutor to doing defense work is I was prosecuting a case. And after the trial, we won the trial. And afterwards, one of the jurors came to me, and she was an older lady. She was probably in her 70s. And she said, have you ever considered switching sides? And I said, why? I had never really seriously considered it.
Right.
Because I loved what I was doing, and I felt like what I was doing was good work, and important for the community. And she said, because if I ever had someone who needed help, I would want them to have a lawyer like you.
Oh.
And that just slayed me. I thought, man, what an enormous compliment.
Right.
That she was saying, thank you so much for all that you do for our community. But there are people out there who need lawyers like you too. And I would want for them to have a lawyer like you.
Well,
and
the word help was probably you could help these people.
You can help them. And people need there's a lot of different aspects to the type of work that I do. Mm-hmm. Some of it is this hard charging, hard fighting aspect. And then some of it is you have people who come to you who are broken and ashamed and they're humiliated. They've either done something or been accused of doing something that is an embarrassment to them. It's an embarrassment to their family. And they really are looking for guidance on where to go, how to put the pieces back together if they can put the pieces back together.
Right.
And they want to make sure that they have an advocate, but also a counselor.
Well, we'll be right back after I take this call. No, I'm sorry. My phone started ringing, and that just irritates me. I understand why Richard, and he just like, I could just see him from right here without looking at him, rolling his eyes. I'm sorry. I apologize, listeners. But I want to talk to you about that because that's the thing, the emotional part of it. Mm-hmm. So you're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and we've got our special guest, Kate Bihm, and she's running for Judge District 9 Court. So you guys come back, and we're going to get really into the politics of it.
The Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet.
Lone Star Internet Radio is now bringing you the weekly business hour show each Monday morning at 11 a.m. My name is Rick Schissler, and I will be your host. Each week we will be bringing you local, area, and national business news that you can use. The program will also feature an interview with a local or national business person who will share their own experiences, successes, and failures in operating their businesses. Our show is for anyone who already owns a business, whether they work solo or have employees, and for those who are thinking about starting their own businesses. A bit of information about myself. Again, my name is Rick Schissler, and I am a Silver Fox advisor who has over 40 years' experience as a serial entrepreneur. As a part of our show, I will offer some advice and encouragement on our monthly topic, and I will take your questions by email at rschissler@silverfox.org or call into the station at 936-647-3776. See you on the radio Monday at 11 a.m. for the weekly business hour.
At Jazzy Junk, volunteers reclaim, restore, and recycle. Jazzy Junk is a non-profit resale storefront where you will discover wonderful, unique finds at very affordable prices on furniture, antiques, books, art, home decor, and more. When you shop Jazzy Junk, you support New Danville, a community for adults with developmental disabilities. We receive new donations daily, so plan a visit to Jazzy Junk today to find that perfect item or gift. Our motto is here today, gone today. So remember to hurry in and shop often for the best selection. Jazzy Junk is located in the outlets at Conroe on League Line Road and I-45 North. Call 936-441-4500 or visit our website, jazzyjunk.org. That's JUNQUE for more information and store hours.
In a world where everyone with a smartphone is a photographer, unique images still stand out in local newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Writer and photographer Brad Meyer has gained a reputation for innovation and quality, specializing in an editorial approach to portraits and event photography. For information, visit bkmeyer.com or call 281-221-4812.
Hello, Montgomery County. I'm Rachel Baldwin with Special Olympics Texas, Area 6. Are you a fan of courage? Are you a fan of determination? Are you a fan of acceptance, grace, and skill? Then you're already a fan of Special Olympics. Make it official. Volunteer, coach, and or compete and be a fan of dignity and acceptance. The dedication of our Special Olympics Texas volunteers provides mainstreaming experiences for athletes with intellectual disabilities. You will touch the heart of another person, and it will move you in a meaningful way that lifts the spirit. Please visit the Heart of East Texas Area 6 webpage at www.sotx.org. Also, like us on Facebook to be a fan and be part of Special Olympics Texas.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the most opinionated talk show on radio.
And he don't lie. You're right. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and I certainly want to be the most opinionated person. No, opinions. You know, everybody has an opinion, and a lot of times it's their reality, and that's certainly my feeling. And if it's my opinion and you have a different opinion, that's fine. Call in and tell me where I'm wrong. I would love to hear that. So it doesn't bother me, especially in politics. I have never taken the course like, you know, a lot of people are very hardline Republican or hardline, you know, Democrat. And if you don't believe the way they do, there's something, you know, wrong with you. I understand that part of it, but where they get like it's almost. It depends on your salvation if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat. And since it doesn't have anything to do with that, I think it's fun to talk about politics. I mean, I love to talk about religion and politics, the two things that your mom told you not to ever talk about with people. Right. But I love it. And this morning having Kate Bihm, who's running for judge in the District 9 court. Is it District Court 9?
It's the 9th District Court.
The 9th District Court. Getting these things right, because I called somebody precinct 1, it was position 1, and it was
yes. And so technically it's the judge of the district court 9th judicial district.
Oh, brother.
Yes.
They need an acronym for that.
Because there can be more than one district court in a judicial district. So, but in the 9th district court, there's only one court, so it's easier to just say 9th district court.
I see. Okay. And yes. You have 2 other guys that are running against you in this primary.
Yes. One of them is a corporate attorney, and the other one works for the district attorney's office.
Okay. But does he work for the district attorney's office, and he practices? I mean, he's not just in the office taking calls. What does he do? Is he one of the lawyers there?
Yes.
In the district attorney's office? Now, you did that for a while before you came here, right?
I did.
And does that really give you all the experience that you need to then move on to the judgeship?
I think that my experience is a unique fit for the 9th district court. So the 9th District Court is a court of general jurisdiction, which means that it can hear criminal, civil, family, and juvenile cases.
Oh, wow.
And yes. And then our district judges also sit on the juvenile board, who sets policies and procedures for our juvenile justice department here in Montgomery County. And I'm the only candidate in our race who has any experience with the juvenile justice system. So I think that that's something that I bring to the voters. The other thing is that I've represented clients in criminal, civil, family, and juvenile cases, and I'm the only candidate who has that breadth of experience in this particular race. The 9th District Court currently only hears felony criminal cases, and that's by agreement of the Board of Judges that those are the only cases that are being filed into that court. And I have a lot of depth of experience in criminal law as well. I'm the only candidate who's been both a prosecutor and worked on the defense side. I've represented clients at all levels of the criminal justice system, from traffic tickets all the way up to murder, very serious crimes. I've tried more felony criminal cases in the last 5 years than both of my opponents combined. And so I've also represented clients in the Court of Appeals and in the Court of Criminal Appeals. And so I have a lot of depth of experience in the field of criminal law as well. And so when you put those two things together, coupled with my knowledge of the juvenile justice system, which is part of what these judges do, part of what district judges do is to sit on that board, I'm just a really good fit for this court as far as my experience and qualifications.
Well, you're definitely a triple threat to everybody else because you do have that. And I think, wow, you will be going from one end of the spectrum to the other when you have, serious criminal like murder, and then you have to find out if this child is going to be able to stay in their home, and then you have to find out the juvenile side of activity.
And it's very different when you have, say, a 14-year-old who is charged with a horrible crime. Obviously, that's a very different perspective than a 24-year-old who's charged with a terrible crime. And the goal of the two systems is very different. The goal of the juvenile justice system is to do no harm, while also achieving the ends of justice. Do no harm to the child. It's under the Texas Family Code. It's a very different area of the law, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it? And then the adult system is, the penal code, the code of criminal procedure. It's just different. So that is a unique perspective that I bring. And having been both a prosecutor and a defense lawyer is a unique perspective as well. One thing that people tend to think, or people might say about defense lawyers, is that we're somehow in cahoots with our clients, or people are, I'll tell you, people say to me more often than not, I don't see how you sleep at night defending criminals. And I'm like, the guilty ones, I sleep just fine. Those are not hard. You're there to make sure that your client receives a fair trial, and that they have access to all of the protections that our constitutions afford to them. But I have also represented innocent people, and those are the ones that keep you up at night, that you just lie awake at night realizing, I am the one person who stands between this person being wrongfully convicted and really all of the might of our government. And that's a pretty solemn obligation. Sure. And it can be very heart-wrenching and frightening. And so I think that having had that perspective is a different one than both of my opponents had. And
plus, throwing into that, and not in a sexist way at all, that you are a woman.
Yes.
And you, just by nature, you can't, it's not anything that you went out and studied for, but there's a nurturing, normally, a nurturing nature about a woman that will see things, and it's just a different filter than a man would have.
That's a great way. It's a different filter.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. And, you know, there's that nurturing side, and then I also think that there is that protective side as well. You know, I mean, there's a reason why we call them mama bears, right?
That's right. But, you know, the mama bear, you know, when that cub does something wrong, will certainly understand if I don't correct him right now, it's going to be worse for him.
It'll be worse later. And so I think that there is that aspect of that different filter of wanting to do it for a different reason. Sometimes I think, I don't know.
Well,
it is a unique perspective.
I think coming into, you know, if I was standing on the other side of that bench and looking up there and seeing who's going to judge me, because my first judgment that we're not, you know, it talks about in the Bible that you're not supposed to judge. I'm going to judge you the same way that you're judged. And we do it to everybody. I mean, we just do that. You have to suspend that as well, in the sense that when somebody walks through, you've got to see them first as an innocent person until they're proven guilty.
Yes.
And that is so difficult for us humans, because we judge on everything.
Right.
And before the person ever opens their mouth, we've got them pegged as who they are and all that. And I know that through that process, you kind of understand that, because you're vetting all those jurors before they get up there to make a decision. Mm-hmm. You're having to find out, do they believe this way, or are they going to be too much that way?
Well, and that's part of the decision making. I think that my experience for both the prosecution and the defense gives me something unique to offer voters. Mm-hmm. Is that you, having represented people at all ends of the spectrum and having prosecuted people too, what you do is you develop a sixth sense about whether someone is a generally good person that is having a bad day, mm-hmm. who will largely self-correct, or whether someone is a scary person that the community needs to be protected from. And so sometimes judges are called upon to answer that question relatively quickly. And having represented clients who were both things, mm-hmm. I have represented clients that when it was all said and done and they were sentenced, I thought, even though they got a very large sentence, justice was done here.
Right.
And they got what they deserved.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have also represented clients that you fight really, really hard for, because you know this was a one-time mistake that they are likely never to make again.
They learned their lesson.
Right. Or it may have been born out of an extraordinary circumstance in their life.
True.
That once they work through that and get counseling, the behavior will be corrected. But at the same time, judges are called upon to protect the public. And so judges often make the decisions about sentencing and whether someone should be sentenced to probation, whether it's an appropriate sentence. And people ask me all the time, well, you know, what are you going to do to criminals when they come before you? And my answer to that is very simple. My sentencing philosophy is very simple. I believe that we should put people on probation that we're mad at, and we should put people in prison that we're afraid of.
Very interesting.
Yes.
That's
and so
great.
If I encounter someone that I think is a danger to the public,
right,
and they're before me for sentencing, I am going to protect the public from that person. But if I think that they are someone who will largely self-correct and has an opportunity to be a productive member of society, and they can finance their own punishment rather than taxpayers financing it.
What about support around it? Yeah, that's good for taxpayers.
Support around someone is critical. And studies show that there's three primary reasons why people are successful in community-based punishments, like probation, mm-hmm. or a diversion court like drug court, that's designed to help someone get treatment for a drug problem when they've found themselves in the legal system as a result of it. And that is, first, that they have transportation. Second, that they have the ability to support themselves, or a willingness to support themselves.
Right.
And third, that they have the support either in the community or through their family to help them be successful.
That's great, because then you feel like there's some accountability.
Oh, yes.
They leave the courthouse.
And I believe too that when people have to do the work themselves, mm-hmm. they have a stake in their behavior and in their rehabilitation. And so, look, there are some crimes for which people need to be punished and punished strongly. Period. The end. Mm-hmm. There are some things that are inexcusable in our society and for which people should not, not receive any quarter whatsoever. But then there are situations in which there are special circumstances that sometimes may arise. So I think that, and it's up to judges to help make that distinction and understand when that is. And I think that's why it's so important that our judges have real wisdom and discernment.
Right.
Because that's what they have to rely upon to make those decisions.
Well, I want to find out, when did you first realize you had discernment, the gift of discernment? And then the next, I want to see what your feeling is about the judge on the case of the affluenza teen. Okay, we'll be right back. You guys stay with us. You're listening to Cindy Cochran Show, and we'll don't go away, because this is only a couple minutes and we're going to back some interesting stuff. Okay, goodbye.
The Cindy Cochran Show. Even if these walls could talk, they couldn't get a word in edgewise.
SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County is a 501c3 all-volunteer-based rescue and adoption organization with a no-kill policy for healthy and adoptable animals. Our goals are fourfold: to rescue and rehabilitate homeless animals, to provide a safe haven for the animals until a suitable adoption or foster care home is found or until they are reunited with their owner, to educate the public about the great need to reduce pet population, which includes the importance of having their pets spayed and neutered, and to further the cause for humane and responsible pet ownership, and to provide a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for people who are unable to afford to spay or neuter their pets otherwise. SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County encourages you to think adoption first. You can contact us at www.spcaofmc.com.
Hi folks, it's your old buddy Luke Clayton, and I want to invite you to join me every Saturday morning right here on Lone Star Internet Radio from 8 to 9 for Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Bill Dance is a frequent guest. Larry Weisser, Mr. Whitetail, is on the show every week. We talk a lot of hunting and fishing and generally have a good time. So remember, every Saturday morning, 8 to 9, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
In a world where everyone with a smartphone is a photographer, unique images still stand out in local newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Writer and photographer Brad Meyer has gained a reputation for innovation and quality, specializing in an editorial approach to portraits and event photography. For information, visit bkmeyer.com or call 281-221-4812.
Have a legal question? Are you a resident of Montgomery County? Call 281-645-6344 to talk to a volunteer attorney from the Woodlands Bar Association. We answer the phones on the first Monday of every month at 281-645-6344 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. to provide general legal information and information about legal resources to Montgomery County residents.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the first daily talk show serving Montgomery County.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for joining us. And listen, if you have missed one iota of this fascinating conversation with Kate Bihm, who's running for the judgeship of court,
the Ninth District Court.
Ninth District Court. And we have just, I loved having you here. This has been so exciting. And if you missed any of it, go to Facebook, watch for her also you can go to SoundCloud or YouTube and watch for today's, it'll be on maybe this week. Richard? She'll be back. She'll be in archives this week. You think?
Whenever I feel like it.
Okay.
You know? That's
Whenever
usually
he feels
the
like
ongoing thing here.
Richard, you are so brilliant.
I'll do it
You're
when you
such
get
a
her
genius.
district court right.
Well, I had it in my head one way, and then I was like, okay, now I got to change that.
It was
up.
almost like you were fighting to say the word ninth.
Right.
You're just like,
Ninth.
I just can't get
say
to the number. Is somebody help me?
Yes. Just remember Kate Bihm for judge. That's all you have to remember. And when you see that on the ballot, that's all you have to remember. But the case of the affluenza teen, I'm telling you, that just fascinated everybody. It made all those people so mad that, that this kid was allowed to go free after, the murder of 4 people. And he was drunk when he was driving, but it was just that what led all up to that is what's fascinated Kim's social,
Kate.
People make
that decision. People make that mistake all the time
because you combine the two names.
Yes,
Bihm
I get called
Kate
and Bihm, and it becomes Kim, and so I totally understand. It happens all the time.
She's Kate for crying out loud, but it's going to be Judge Bihm. Okay. Anyway, the side that has really fascinated you is the socialist side of it. The social side of it, the what's happened.
Yes.
And the parents and this mother who's being
charged with hindering apprehension of a felon. And first, let me say, as a judicial candidate, I cannot and will not criticize another judge's decision to the extent that it indicates that I would rule differently. Right. And I don't know every single fact about that case. What I do know is that child, because at the time this happened, he was a child in the juvenile system. And I think that that's really important, is that this was a juvenile case. He was not charged as an adult. The prosecution had an opportunity to charge him as an adult, and they did not. Okay. He was not certified as an adult, so he was charged as a child. The life that he had as a child and how he grew up is so far outside of what any of us would ever consider normal. And I'll give you an example. When he was 13 years old, his parents bought him a car, and he drove himself to and from school.
At 13?
And when the school called his parents and were like,
oh my word,
your kid can't drive to school, his parents were like, yeah, he can, and you can't do anything about it. And so you kind of have to imagine what it's like, if you can imagine,
right,
for a child to grow up being told he can do whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it, and then there was literally no one in his life to say no. That maybe he's not like you and me.
Right.
And so from that respect, it's like he was feral,
Yes.
And so
that's a good point.
And I feel very strongly that there is kind of, that's an issue, and we know for a fact that was part of what went into the judge's decision making there. So I'm not going to say whether the judge made the right decision or the wrong decision. I do think it's interesting to point out that when the judge put him on probation, he sent him home to those same people that had basically were probably the root of the problem.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
To me, that's fascinating.
Yes.
That it's like, congratulations, I'm going to just put you right back where you were, where all of this had gone wrong in the first place. But nonetheless,
because I'm sure your parents have learned their lesson.
I'm sure your parents have totally learned their lesson.
I was under the impression they were trying to apply for a reality show with E or something.
Seriously, which is one of the saddest things I've ever heard. And I sincerely hope that
was
if
a
that,
joke.
I'm like,
sorry. No,
that would be.
Like, she's just jumped all over you.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, that would be
it's
an
hilarious.
indicator that our society has fallen further than even I had thought.
Right.
But nonetheless, so what's really interesting is now the mother has been charged with hindering apprehension of a felon and is facing between 2 years and 10 years in the penitentiary for helping him to leave the United States. And they, from what I have read, they had like a going away party before they left. Like the arrogance of being like, I'm about to skip bond and let's have a party to celebrate.
I think this is the master plan of the dad. He's trying to get rid of everybody in his family.
It's just,
and it's working.
It's such a sad, there's so many different things that are so sad about this.
Well, they divorced.
And the worst, they've divorced and remarried a couple of times. But the worst part of all of this, and the part that nobody is talking about, is what it feels like for those people whose children died in that accident.
Sure.
To every day see these people on the news and to see this salacious coverage of it.
Right.
And they have to every day relive the death of their child.
Well,
and
true.
To me, that is the part that I just cannot imagine.
Well, they don't really mention it. That's what's crazy to me,
That's my point.
Yeah,
that's the worst part of it, is that no one is talking about the loss that those families suffered, and it's wretched.
Well, to me, that puts a huge check mark in your box there because you have read so much about this. I think that a judge, when a case is coming before them, that goes into all the detail and all the background and all the backstory to understand how to.
Judges actually shouldn't do that. The reality is that judges should only make decisions based upon the evidence that's before them at that time. And so that particular case is just one that's very interesting to me, like you said, from the social side of it, because I have a background in sociology with an emphasis in deviant behavior from Texas A&M University. Whoop, giggum. But so that case just in particular interested me, and it was because social science played such a large part in the sentencing. But judges have to make decisions based upon the evidence that is before them and not based upon outside factors. But at the same time, judges do have to rely upon their common sense and, like I said before, wisdom and discernment to make good choices about their cases.
But before they, offer the sentence, can they at that time research? Can at that time they do any more research or feel like they didn't get a full answer on this or they didn't bring up enough of this part of it, so they want to go back?
A judge can ask for a pre-sentence investigation report to be prepared. It's required by law in most cases, so that they have a complex social study of the defendant, their family, their background, all of those things. And that is very helpful to the court in making decisions. And then in the sentencing hearing, the judge can ask questions if they want to, although that's not something normally that I would recommend. You should rely upon counsel to ask those questions and to get all of the evidence out there.
But like you say, the common sense part of it in being a judge and watching over everything that's going on. I mean, I've been in a lot of trials where I'm watching the judge, and the judge looks like they're not paying attention to what's being said at that time.
I had a judge fall asleep once. I was so insulted that he was not just so mesmerized by my brilliance that his attention wasn't rapt. But no, I'm teasing. But, it does happen. And it's when you're a lawyer and you see that happening, it's devastating because you think, if the judge is not paying attention, how can he possibly even know? But at the same time, sometimes it looks like judges aren't paying attention because the court reporter is taking down the record. And they're reading the record as it comes up right in front of them.
Oh, it translates.
It's called real time.
So
sometimes that's what judges are doing, or they may even be researching a particular issue to make sure that they're making the right decision. But they're probably, when it looks like they're not paying attention, they're probably reading it in real time. And they're reading it as it's happening.
So don't necessarily judge the drool coming from one of their side of their mouth.
Anytime you hear a snore, that's a problem. I once memorably had a judge in the middle. I'm not in the middle of my cross-examination, which was, of course, hair flip, brilliant.
Of course.
Answers the phone. His phone rings, and he's like, "Hey, babe." And I was
he didn't. He didn't say, "Hey, babe."
I am brilliantly cross-examining an officer here. No, yes, but so things like that happen, and I think that is part of being a lawyer. Is sometimes crazy things happen, but that's all you can.
But see, don't you go to school on every trial you've been on? You go to school on how that judge acted, and you go, "If I was a judge, I would never do that, or I would do this, or that was a good."
Absolutely.
Good play by the judge,
Absolutely. During the vetting process, one of the organizations that vets us for endorsements and that type of thing asked us who our judicial role models are. And I thought that was such a good question. Because it says a lot about who you are as a lawyer and who you'll be as a judge as to who you look up to and that type of thing.
Right. And how many women judges do we have in Montgomery County? Do you know that number?
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's the majority.
It is the majority?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, that's great.
It is. It is.
We are so safe here. This is great, guys. You need to hear this kind of stuff. This is good.
Right.
That's not a sexist remark at all. But I think that what I'd like to ask you next is, when we come back, about being a woman running in, I was going to say in a man's world, but of course there's so many women judges now, but in this judicial world, it seems like it's a majority of men that are in the leadership roles. But if that's changing, that's great. But if not, getting into that and playing in that world, in Texas, how is it different running as a woman in Texas?
I've never run anywhere else. So, I can't really say. I can say that in Texas, people are so gracious and kind because that's who we are as a people, that it's not like you have somebody walk up and say, I hate you, I'm never going to vote for you. In fact, if someone does hate you and would never vote for you, they're usually like, aren't you just the sweetest thing? So, and that's fine, because I will say that I would not want to be a presidential candidate and have to wake up every day and have someone present me with, these are your poll numbers, and people either like you or don't like you.
Right.
You just do what you think is right and do the best that you can, and hopefully your message resonates with voters.
Well, I want to talk about the presidential race and how women are being treated there, and then we're just more gentlemanly here, I guess, than when they treat you as a woman running for an office like judge. Kate Bihm is my guest, so guys, you guys got to come back and hear this. We're going to talk about how the women in the presidential candidacy are being treated, and you know who we're going to talk about. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away. The Cindy Cochran Show.
Conroe now has another first. The Cindy Cochran Show. Mornings at 10 a.m. on irlonestar.com.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. We are proud to sponsor 10 philanthropic programs that enhance the lives of those in our community. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe, or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
In a world where everyone with a smartphone is a photographer, unique images still stand out in local newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Writer and photographer Brad Meyer has gained a reputation for innovation and quality, specializing in an editorial approach to portraits and event photography. For information, visit bkmeyer.com or call 281-221-4812.
Tune in to Chamber Chat with your host, Courtney Galley and Samantha Good, with the Conroe Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce, every first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. I'm one of your hosts, Courtney Galley. Samantha and I will chat about the Conroe Chamber's upcoming events and programs for the month. Relax with a cup of joe or your favorite drink for Chamber Chat.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. Through our Operation School Bell program, we have provided new clothes to over 50,000 students in our county. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe, or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
The Cindy Cochran Show, the first daily talk show serving Montgomery County.
That's right, you're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show every morning, Monday through Friday, 10 to 11. Here we are, right here, and we've got Kate Bihm as our special guest, and she's running for judge of the 9th District Court.
Woohoo!
And the reason I got that right is
she's got
this huge red sign she's wearing, and I'm going like, I was right there the whole time. It was great. So thank you, Kate, for helping me.
Sure.
In the last segment. But when we sat down, I said, your hair is so cute. I love the cut of your hair, and I thought,
thank you.
This will be the last time I'll be able to tell a judge that, I probably won't.
Oh, no, you should always tell judges when they look nice.
Oh, you should? Oh, they don't care.
You should always tell people when they look nice. You might make someone's day, like mine.
Yes, would it change, though, your decision on what you thought about me standing before you? She's been talking about her career as a lawyer and all, and I want to know, like, what age were you? Was it you were a little kid and you were, making decisions for kids that are fighting or something like that? What was it that got you to feel like, I could be a lawyer, I could make decisions, I could be a judge, I have the gift of discernment?
So when I was very young, I attended a private Christian school called Brazos Christian School in College Station, Texas, Bryan College Station. And I remember probably third or fourth grade, we had Bible every day, and our teacher talking about the story of Solomon and how Solomon could have prayed and asked God for anything in the world, but he asked God for wisdom. And that what followed with that was a life of success and privilege because he had asked God for wisdom. And so, of course, my elementary school age self thought, well, I'll just pray for wisdom every day and this is all going to work out. And as I've gotten older, obviously my mentality on that has changed. But from a very young age, I've started each day or ended each day with the prayer for wisdom and discernment.
That's great.
And it has changed my life, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's shaped who I am today. So my grandmother has told me from a very young age that I have the gift of discernment. And so that's something that I don't think that really made me go, well, I have the gift of discernment, I should run for judge.
Right.
It was really more a situation where I've worked very hard and have developed a successful practice and a good reputation amongst lawyers. I've been, given numerous awards for the work that I've done for my clients, and people started kind of approaching me and saying, well, you should run. Are you going to run? We think you'd be great. And for a long time, I thought, well, I'm not sure I'm ready to give up my practice because I love my practice and I love helping people. But then I actually had a couple of friends take me out to lunch and sit me down and say, this is, are you going to do this? When are you going to do it? Why, what's going to be the decision maker for you? And so I really prayed about it, and I talked to my husband about it, and just woke up one morning. And, sometimes it's a still, quiet voice in your head telling you what you should do. And sometimes it's like, aruga, 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 you must. And so I had that morning. And it was shortly thereafter that I decided to run for the 9th District Court. And here I am, almost 6 months later, really 5 months later, working hard at trying to get that message out that my goal is to be fair and impartial and to use my experience and the expertise that I've developed in the more than 12 years that I've been practicing to do what's right for the people of Montgomery County, and to use my independent judgment and to really follow the law and do the right thing.
Well, I love this hour we've had from the beginning of it. If you missed the beginning, go back to the archives and listen to Kate. Because she has her sense of humor, you feel like, okay, I understand, I can relate to her. And then what she went through and how she sees the world, and through very common sense eyes. And that's what we're hoping for, especially in the courts. And so I'm excited to be able to have you on and be able to tell, let you tell people what it is that you're looking forward to do. And just because she's a woman, I'm not saying just because she's a woman, but because a lot of times women have very good common sense outlook on things. In the presidential candidates that we see, I love Carly Fiorina. I love to listen to her talk and to express herself so well. And I wish she had been more popular, and maybe she will, now that she's been through one of these. But Hillary Clinton is a stark contrast to me, because I don't care if you were, a one-eyed purple people eater. I'm not going to vote for you because you're a woman if I don't feel like I can trust what you're saying to me, and that you have proven yourself over and over to get yourself in messes, and then you go like, I didn't mean to. I don't know what was happening. Mm-hmm. I don't want someone like that for a leader. And I'm not saying anything, like I would be right there along with her, and I wouldn't vote for me for president because I've made mistakes and not know what I was doing. And I don't want me as a leader. It has nothing to do with you because you're a woman. I'm not going to feel sorry for you and vote for you. It is a stark contrast. And so I really appreciate you taking how brave and courageous you are to go up against a lot of people and do that. So I thank you for serving in every way that you've served. And
thank you so much.
It's going to be great. Okay, guys, February 16th, early voting starts. So you go get your ballots and go vote, and it's going to be fun.
And remember, vote for Bihm, not for him.
I love that. Man, you should have started the show with that, okay? Okay, guys, I'll see you tomorrow with Denton Florian as my guest.
Thank you for checking out a podcast on Lone Star Internet Radio. Lone Star Internet Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas. If you are interested in sponsoring a program for Lone Star Internet Radio, just visit us online at irlonestar.com. or message us on Facebook. We are always taking song requests on Twitter, and if you are interested in getting involved with the station by either hosting your own show or if you want to be a DJ, just contact Dick at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Internet Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station.